Hello, my friends. It's Andy coming to you live from Orange County, California. I am the host for the California Paranormal Lights podcast and the president. I'm also the leader of the douche. What was it again? Shoot, I forgot the name of it.
Would you like me to look it up? You're Lord Douchebag.
Lord Douchebag or something. Oh, I was so honored, but it was amazing. Oh my gosh. I am so happy to have Leandra here. She's busy looking up my title.
I'm looking up your title.
It was so good. I don't know why I didn't look it up. We were busy talking about all kinds of stuff that are going on in our community. And I did not look up my new title.
No,
I'm a
lord.
I know that.
You're a lord.
That is amazing. I will accept that. And who we got already commenting here? We have Karen Sewell is watching. Hey guys, nice to see you. Awesome for watching. And that's okay. We'll find it later.
We'll find it. Somebody will
know. And Priscilla Rocha is on. Hi, y'all. Your title is pretty funny. Hey, Priscilla, what is that title?
What is the title? We can't remember.
I forgot what it was. It was something in all caps and then douche Lord. It was awesome.
Lord Douche.
Lord Douche. And you wanted that title. You were so offended.
Oh.
You wanted to be the leader of the Lord Douche program.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you fit. Maybe you're a better douche. I don't know.
Let's move this a little closer. I know it's hard because people go, that's right in my face. So let's get back. Let's get to the real reason we're here. Mm-hmm. We are so happy.
Yes.
For now.
Yes.
Because we have a lot more work to do, and they're going to have some little things going on. But at least for right now, you and the rest of your school board members were successul in banning CRT from the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District.
Yes, we did. It was
applause. We can't hear it, but they can hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is so weird. So I definitely want to know how do you feel? Do you feel great?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel cautiously great? What's the feeling that you're going through right now?
No, I feel good. It was a long time coming. I mean, this was a campaign promise that myself, Sean, and Marilyn all made. We campaigned on parental choice. We campaigned on traditional curriculum. These were the things that we campaigned on. And, sometimes it's hard to get on the agenda. You have so much and you're trying to push things through. But, we finally made it there, and it was kind of a long haul. Felt like the can was getting kicked down the road on purpose many times. But eventually we got it done. And I feel good. And I know, sometimes you want it to go through quickly. But I think taking the 6 months, having the attorney sit in on the sessions, it kind of just made us all feel better that everything was legal. We're doing the right thing.
Right. That was interesting. I didn't think about I was so afraid of having, because normally you and I being police officers, usually an attorney means it's not going to end well.
Well, yeah.
They get too much into the legalese and then it ends up getting watered down and all kinds of stuff. No, we can't say that because it'll offend somebody. That turned out to be
Yeah, I mean, he, and I was happy because me and Sean had voted yes on the controversial issues policy, that was brought up by a community member as an agenda item. So it was kind of a good thing because he brought it up. Oh, most boards and most districts have a controversial issues policy. And so I had to bring up, we just lost that vote to agendize that item. So that coming forward was something we wanted, and the CRT ban. So it's kind of a good thing. I felt like we got a lot accomplished this past month, and some of it was inadvertent.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard from us sitting on the sidelines and being parents, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, that kind of stuff.
Yes,
we just say, what's taking so long? And in the end, I have it brought up here is the resolution concerning district teaching of critical race theory as a framework on matters relating to race. I'm going to skip all the way down to the bottom. And one of the most important things is, I think this is it here. The Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District will not include critical race theory as a framework in any course offerings.
Right.
That, I think, for me, after I read the whole thing, just that one line right there just is so darn important.
Yes, yes.
From a school board member position, where you were attacked all along the way. You've been attacked from before you even got elected. And you drugged me in to this.
I know.
It's all your fault. I was such a kind, gentle person before.
You were.
And
you never thought you'd be a Lord Douche.
No. Oh, and by the way, Priscilla said it's ignorant. Ignorant
oh, no.
douche lords.
Oh, ignorant.
Ignorant douche lord. That is my title.
Okay.
It was official. That's from I forget the name of the group.
Okay.
But the I don't know, some group.
Right.
But and she commented on the post. She came in and spoke out.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it's really interesting.
Oh, huh.
I thought that was nice. But with that, the attacks, all this type of stuff, how did that change anything with you? I would just like people to know that are interested in running for school board, because the organization that I'm representing as president, it's a statewide. And although the Placentia Yorba Unified School District is in an area that has a lot of conservatives, there are many others that don't have the good fortune of being in this type of community.
Right.
How do you deal with that personally? Does it affect your marriage, your life at all? I mean, what does it motivate you, or does it cause you to really buckle down? What can you tell people that may be attacked soon?
You really have to just not care. Like, just don't let it bother you. And it's kind of strange. And I don't know if it's just years being in the field and, like just kind of taking the attacks and stuff in the field, like when you're arresting people or just in general. But I mean, these are like more personal attacks. Like when you're out there, it's like, you're just kind of you're just a uniform. They don't really see a person. But so these were more personal. And I think other people would get more upset than me. And I'm just, I just kind of blow it off. But I really don't know. And some people have asked me that, like, how are you not taking it personally? And I don't know. Like it just really doesn't bother me. And I figure, if you want to attack me, you're attacking more of like what I believe in. But there are some personal attacks that are going on. And so I don't know. I really can't explain it. I just know that like some things were brought up today because there was a couple interviews that were done before this. And there was questions about like, well, people are saying the community wants CRT. The teachers want CRT. And so I was thinking about that, and it just kind of came to me, and I just came to this realization. The OC Board of Education, I believe that they had sent me over a couple weeks ago. I got all the information about the totality of all the school districts in Orange County, what they wanted CRT not, and then they could break it down to our school district. So I had that, and 75% did not want CRT. But then I also started to think more. And, Sean, Marilyn, and I ran parental choice, get rid of the noise, traditional education, get rid of the social justice, get rid of critical race theory, and, work for the students, bring it all back around.
Right.
So that's 3 districts of our district. So 3 of the 5 districts. We were not teachers union endorsed. We were like grassroots the entire way. So to say that, the majority of our community wants CRT, I think the 2020 election said otherwise, because we all 3 beat union endorsed candidates who had probably triple the funding that we had because of the teachers union money. So I just feel like the testament is that our election in 2020 was proof that our community does not want this stuff, and they wanted to see a change. And so I think that that's important when people start to say, yeah, there are teachers who want it. I saw the emails. A lot of teachers didn't want it as well. A lot of students emailed, but a lot of students also said, no, we don't want this. So yeah, so I feel confident that we did what was good with the community. But also too, when you have this thing, like 2/3 of our nation has said they do not want critical race theory. You have like 14 or 15 states who have banned critical race theory. So when you have something this controversial, why do we want it in schools? That should be the issue. If you have a controversial issue such as this, why put it into our schools? Like, why would we not choose to just focus on traditional curriculum and to teach our kids and to send them off with a great education that we've promised them? And so that's kind of the things that I've been kind of just thinking on.
It's common sense.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. It does kind of feel that way.
When you have somebody like Carrie Buck, who during the meeting, before the vote actually took place, and I'm going to break down some of these things or talk about a few of these items, that the lies and things that they talk about. One of these was, and although you just spoke about it, I want to bring up that she said, now I took a poll. Now, when you have a progressive take a poll of progressives, I mean, this is the thing that I often say in this period of time that I've been looking at the school boards, and many other people have, it's really exposed the poor selection of these people that have no business being in a position where they're looking at budgets, looking at legal aspects, looking at education, and seemingly they're not very educated, and don't think that, they don't even understand that if they poll the people that support them, that they're going to get, a very skewed thing. And her thing was something like she polled, I don't know how many it was, if you remember, you can share what that was, but it was some nonsense of, well, I polled 100 people and, 95% of those people said, that they want CRT.
Right.
And then you came back, well, no, here is the stats that I learned.
Right. I mean, I think too, I get emails that other board members don't. So there might be people who are emailing her who are saying, yes, I want CRT, just as there's people emailing me that say, no, I don't.
Right.
So I feel like if you're going to do a personal poll, I don't know, maybe not, give a lot of credit to it. Like, maybe just keep it in the back of your mind, but don't use it as fact, because
it's important to know what your constituents want.
Exactly. It's very important. And
that's why you didn't go to when your response to that and said, well, hold on one second. And you brought up a Orange County
Board of Education
poll, which is what you should do.
Right. It was an actual official poll. And what was funny too, how that came about, it wasn't even from the Board of Education, like the leaders. It was just somebody, his last name was Nielsen. And so he says, here's the stats, since you guys are looking at CRT from our thing last summer, the forum they had. And so then he says to me, I said, oh, thanks, I'm going to take a look at this. Then he says, hey, I have your district solely. Would you like that too? So then he sent all that over. He broke it all down by district. So then I had that, and I was like, well, this is great. And I just happened to be scrolling through it before the meeting, and I screenshot it. And I almost had to say, because there's this group who just thinks that people are communicating with me during the meetings through my phone. It was really funny with one of the study sessions, my phone, one of my sons was texting me, and I looked at it, went back, to whatever. And then she said, oh, you want to get that? Yes. And I said, no. Do you want to get that? Do you need to get that? I said, my phone's not ringing. Well, you need to put your phone away. No, I'm not going to put my phone away. And then so she said it's distracting when you're scrolling. But the funny thing is since the sound was so bad on the thing, people behind me were recording. So I went back through their recording, never touched my phone. So it's all to appease a base. And that's what I don't like. Like, when we're up there, what you do in your personal life is fine. But when we're up there and we're trying to get work done, I'm not up there trying to appease my base. I'm up there just trying to get the job done.
Right. So here's the nonsense. So it just kind of following up on this discussion about her poll versus your poll. Then we see in social media that I've received from people that says that, Buck's poll is by far more accurate than Leandra's poll, and they just really called it your poll. How is it that people, and I know you probably don't know the answer, how is it that people just simply miss these points?
I don't know.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you're so entrenched in like the emotions and stuff, sometimes it's hard to see facts. Like she
clearly said, I took a poll, and you clearly said, I took this poll that was rendered from Orange County Board of Education.
An actual pollster. Yeah.
And you just go,
I don't know.
And I look at this, and I go, did you not see?
Yeah.
All right. So then the next thing I want to talk about is not so much on this last meeting where the public came in, but in earlier meetings leading up to this point, they talked about that we wanted to burn books. And when I got up and spoke, because I've heard it so often, I said, why would we burn books about communism? Why would we burn books about Marxist or, whatever book that they think we're going to burn, when in fact I think that would be valuable to bring those books and bring it up against a constitutional republic in our Constitution and say, okay, this is the difference.
Right.
And that's teaching. So there's do we have any intention of burning books at Placentia Urban Unified School District?
No.
Okay. That's
No,
all I want to say.
and I will say a few meetings ago, I did call out the teachers union because we had so many teachers who were telling us that out of these meetings, these teachers union meetings, they were telling them, oh, you won't be able to teach about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Japanese internment. You won't be able to teach this.
Yep.
So I remember saying in my comments, I said, this table is here because you're supposed to be the liaison to the teachers, board for the teachers. If you're not factual and if you're giving misinformation, there's no reason for you to have this table here. There really isn't. Because if you're not going to take the God's honest truth and relay that to your teachers, then what are you doing? Like, we both belong to unions. We know what the unions did. If the unions were telling us the wrong thing, that would be a little bit problematic.
Yes.
So that was another thing. That's why in my opening comments, I brought up about the teachers. Like, these kids were literally like, some of these kids were emailing and so adamant that we were going to do all of the things we've discussed. And so I finally asked someone, because I saw one in person who asked me about it. I said, who is telling you this? Our teachers are telling us this. And I said, well, so that's the thing is, when you're a teacher and you tell these students something, they take it as fact because they don't think you're going to lie to them. And sometimes I think too, when you have like with CRT, sometimes your opinion to yourself is fact, but it really isn't fact. Like, there might be some, of course I think I'm right, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's why it's so important to teach from the curriculum, because does anybody want my opinion inserted into something? Or do you want the fact? Like,
I do, but
yeah, sometimes people do. Sometimes people don't.
Really?
But that's why I said it was so important. It wasn't like I was upset with teachers. Just, you really need to almost fact check yourself, because I was thinking back to a time when I worked in the jail, and a couple of years before I got there, there was an in custody death. So I was in the training unit at this time, and we were tasked with putting together the 4-point restraints for the mentally ill people who came in, that had to, be restrained.
Yep.
And so we taught a class, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, during this class where we are so liable, we have so much liability if we teach this wrong, or if we don't teach this the right way. Like, what happens if I went against the sheriff's department and I just said whatever the heck it was, told them the wrong thing to do?
Yeah.
They would have fired me.
It's a 5-point restraint. We need to put one around his neck.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you failed. But yes, I was thinking to that, like, when you're tasked with, this type of information, and you're tasked with being a teacher, and you have, you have deputies, and you had a lot of people as your students, like, you can't relay the wrong information, and I have to do what my boss tells me to do.
Right.
So that was another thing that just.
Oh, I used to teach at the police academy.
Right.
And one of them was pet stops, and of course another one was canine.
Right.
Because the only thing I know is dogs.
Right.
But I would study so hard to make sure that I understood what it was that I was going to pass on, because number one, I don't want to get a cop killed.
Right.
In teaching this, which is so important. And obviously our job is not to hurt the suspects unnecessarily.
Right.
Our job is to protect them. So the 4-point restraint, not putting one around their neck, and doing it right is the other responsibility. Got two responsibilities.
Right.
As a representative of the city that we're working for, the county that we're working for.
Right.
And same thing for the teachers. Here is the curriculum.
Right.
Don't add your personal opinion to it.
Yeah.
Don't add anything that's not within there, because we want to make sure and stay within the guidelines that both give the children the good information that will lead them further into their careers if that happens. And we want to make sure that they understand the truth about our history, which includes slavery, which includes killing
all
Indians,
of that. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's not, it's not all good in our history, but we need to learn about it. But the thing is we do have all the supplemental curriculum coming in. So I believe the ban, at least it kind of will hopefully help when people are pulling things from the internet or from other districts, other teachers, like, if it has CRT in it, hopefully they will not introduce it, into the classroom now. But, as far as our curriculum goes, we know there's nothing in the curriculum. It's a supplemental curriculum.
Yep.
But still, like, my husband told me, he says, the point that I made about, the employee and the employer, he goes, that actually, like, nobody really thought so much about that, because in teaching, it just, I don't know if that slipped by the wayside or... And like too, my brother-in-law, my sister, my dad's teacher, my uncle is an ex-superintendent, and so I've been around teachers a lot, and I know that there's ones that stick to the curriculum, and have the pacing guides, but, and I know that from our experience, there's some who don't. And I think healthy conversation and debate is amazing.
Awesome.
I loved it. Like in my government classes and my history
Debate class,
classes, debate, it was so good. It was like the funnest thing ever.
Right.
And so I don't think that should go away, but I think inserting your opinions and inserting all of this, like especially with critical race theory, is just, not good.
Speaking of conversation, we got Leah Davis on, who says she's starting to like me.
Oh, well, that's
She's
good.
the one who nominated me as the ignorant douche.
Oh,
Lord.
is that her?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know who. Oh,
yeah, it's Leah. And we've had some great conversation on the post that I put on there. But the reason I bring her up is not necessarily well, I do like her. I strangely enough, because I find her sense of humor is awesome. But this, I mean, we can have this. It would, it's probably better not to do name calling, but
right.
But I don't get affected by this stuff.
Right. Yeah,
I even text you. I go, man, could I do, there's certain things that you get. Like,
right.
Oh, can I post that because I really like it when this happens?
Yeah.
And so I really invite it. But Leah's turned out to have a really good sense of humor.
Okay.
I don't know her that well. Only know her from my nomination.
Yeah.
And so, but we can do this. There doesn't have to be the hatred that we've seen in the room from when you were speaking last night. Not last night, the night before last night. Sorry.
Yes, Tuesday.
I've been awake ever since because I've been so excited. From 2 nights ago, is that you began to speak about you being a police officer and somebody yelled out, you are a killer out loud. Like, what the heck is going? I mean, it's just, I looked over and she's the same. I don't know if you know this, you might've been in the back, but I was asked to pray for the meeting. And I'm get a little nervous sometimes when I have to pray because I'm still not in that position where I feel like I know exactly what to say, but I did. I stood up, and at the moment I was introduced to pray for the group as Sherry introduced me. They started to howl like this weird noise, like, no, you can't do this, and you need to go outside.
Really?
And I started to pray. I said, dear Lord, we love you, and we ask for your covering as we go into this meeting. And the same lady that yelled at you said, call the police.
Really?
To have me arrested for praying.
Really?
Oh, yes. The same one. And other people were saying, yeah, and like, go outside. And I just not sure why and how this has become such viciousness from the people. And it's a little bit why I wanted to bring up Leah, because although the words were kind of funny,
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. That I think is okay on some level, but I wouldn't go on somebody else's post and say something like that, or I wouldn't, I come on live and talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
And I say, wow. I don't know how. I just think it's something we're going to have to deal with for a long period of time. I don't remember this any other time.
No, and too, and I don't.
I didn't mean to go on a whole rant there, but I just thought it was interesting how.
No, it is interesting, and I think it's funny because I don't recall ever, getting on and calling anybody else names myself. Like through this whole time, like people have been attacking me, and I don't get on and respond and call people names. It's just I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't feel the need. I just don't feel the need to.
Okay, thank you.
So.
I really do want to come up with a logo though.
But I really think we need shirts.
Yes.
I just wonder, like, I just find it interesting because anybody who knows me, like even ask my parents when I was younger, like when I was like 5 or 6, they go, oh, I think you need to be an attorney because you argue anything. And like, so I've always been like a person who thinks for myself. So I think it's like laughable that they're saying people are giving me pointers or I'm, they're telling me what to say. And I'm like you're
a child.
Yeah. Like I'm a child.
Not like Carrie Buck and the other one, Freeman. They had to, and one of my things I brought up the other day was that they had to look up the word systemic because they didn't know what it meant. And that's one aspect, but of course they were just trying to do, they're trying to kick the can down the road a little bit farther. But also my point was that, okay, listen, we've been at this for 6 to 8 months and you waited until 2 weeks before the vote to look up systemic. If you really didn't understand it, you waited until now.
Right.
I mean, it's just like they have no problem giving the appearance that they have no idea what it is they're doing. There's no urgency to really look into it and see, well, maybe I'm wrong. I've looked plenty of times. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe CRT does have some positive aspects to it. And I've gone through it. I've looked at every bit of information I could find on it.
Right.
But that's because I want to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I didn't wait 2 weeks before last week to get up and say, I know nothing about CRT, but I don't think we should do it.
Right.
The reason I'm against it is because I know about as much as I possibly can about the subject.
Yeah.
So they waited 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think the thing too is that I don't understand is like they sit there and go, they go, you don't talk to teachers. You don't talk to anybody. Oh no, I talk to teachers.
Yes.
And I talk to many teachers in all subjects. And I talk to people who do know and are, very, very versed on this, subject. And they're not people who have my same political leanings. And so we sit there and we do debate. And I do meet with people who do not share my politics. Right. And it's all okay. We get through the coffee, we get through the meeting, but,
and Lee wanted to point out that just for the record, oops, sorry, wrong one. She, just for the record, that I wasn't at the meeting and didn't tell those things.
No, that wasn't her.
No,
that wasn't her.
You're right. I want to make sure and say that no, it was another woman.
Yeah. Apparently I guess she used to work, from what I'm hearing, she used to work in the district and she was a APLE former rep when she was employed here. So no, it wasn't Leah.
Okay. Next thing is what the other common point, I guess the other side wanted to make was that we were censoring. And as far as I can tell, what I read through the whole thing, there's no censoring going on in the resolution, not one word about censoring. Just what your opinion when people says that you're censoring, what do you have to say to that?
Well, the thing is, the argument is, and I've asked this from people who, are very knowledgeable about the workings of teaching in school districts. And, because you have to ask these questions when you're passing things like this. And the teachers do not have a First Amendment right in the classroom to say whatever they want.
Right.
And so there is no censorship. And when we talk about the curriculum, we approve a lot of, the district curriculum is approved by the board. And if we are, if you don't have things in place and you can go say whatever you want, then why should we even go through the facade of approving curriculum?
Correct.
And doing 30-day displays and, and having to approve books? Like, why would we do that? Like, it should all just go away. And I think I made that point in a meeting. I said, if we're not going to have, if we're just going to let everybody teach whatever they want and just whatever, then why are we approving this stuff? Like, why do I have to go read all that science curriculum? Like, why do I have to go read all of this thing and study it to make sure, we're good to go with that? Like, why do I need to do that? Like, I haven't read a book I love to read books, love it. I have not read a book. I've read half of a book in 2 years, because everything has been consumed with critical race theory, with inclusion, with things that have to do with the school district, because, people say, oh, I mean, that's just the thing. So I kind of laugh when people say, oh, somebody else is telling her. No, this is me meeting with people and it's me reading books and it's me, talking. I talk to a lot of educators and I listen, just because you have to, because I don't have a background in education, but I'm a parent, I was a student. And sometimes we've also been talking about, sometimes it's better for people who are not so immersed in the education world to be on a board like this. Yep. I mean, remember too, when we had those community people who they sat on, it was your community board and they kind of would tell you what they thought. And sometimes they'd say something and you're like, never thought of that, Yes. And so, there can be some good, but yeah, so this has been for the last couple of years, there's been a lot of meetings and a lot of reading. I might need to start getting some books on tape and just listening when I run.
Right. So what I relate it to is a critical task list. So when we were police officers, I know a lot of stuff that we talked about has to do with police officers, but we talk about what we know.
Yeah.
And so in the field training portion of a police officer's training, where you get out of the academy and then you get handed off to a series of officers that are given a book, and it's a critical task list that you have to go through. You have to make a car stop. You have to make a infraction car stop, a felony car stop. You have to go to a robbery. You have to go to a rape and take a report. And so you end up jumping calls so you can get those critical things off.
Right.
That isn't so important that you have this curriculum that has to be met so that at the end, that They could look at it and say, you know what, all the boxes have been checked.
Yes.
And if any time the FTO says, you know what, I think what we need to do is some weird shenanigans for a little while, and doesn't do the task list, who does that hurt? It hurts the student. It hurts
the student,
right?
Yes.
And then it's possible, and we've probably seen this in our careers, where officers go off the rails.
Yes.
And they've never met all of the requirements to get to whatever they need to be at.
Or if they aren't doing it, the next training officer in line, you get double.
Yes.
You get double the task because you say, wait a second, you haven't done this because you can't go to this next step before you've pretty much done that.
Yeah, usually there's 5 or 6, somewhere in that number. And if the
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten, which is the first one,
yes,
doesn't get his job done, he gets to the first grade, which is the second police officer, goes, what did you do?
Right.
Like, how do you not know how to make a car stop?
Yeah.
How do you not know how to handle a petty theft, shoplifting arrest?
Yes.
And what did that guy do? Right.
Yeah.
And so then you end up getting behind. And then sometimes you may never catch up because you can't predict what kind of calls you're going to go on.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm going on a little rambling, but now you bring us to the teacher.
Right.
And we have a mess.
Yeah.
Right. They're not doing what is been approved by the Board of Education so that the child can go from one step to the next and be educated on 2 + 2 = 4.
Right. And I think what we should also point out is that this is not a blanket statement for the entire district, because we have really, really good teachers. But, we do have the reports. I mean, I experienced it with, my kids. People are experiencing it, that critical race theory is being taught. And so I'm facetious a lot of times when I say, well, what does it matter if we ban it if it's not being taught? But I think the backlash on this is, why are they so protective of something that's not there? That's the question we should ask. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've talked out on this subject, but I mean, everybody knows how I feel, but it's not, they're really, I mean, pacing guides would help out a lot. And I think
we're going to talk about that real quick, because I think that's super important.
Yeah.
That's the next thing we have to make sure that.
I think pacing guides is important. And I think in the elementary school level, I think that's where the pacing guides are probably the strongest. But then I think as you get into junior high and high school, that's where I'm hearing that they kind of go off the rails a little bit, because, like there's someone at one of the middle schools who's not using the textbook. She's using Quill to teach her students. So it's like a complete online form. And so those parents feel like their kid's not getting educated as like, the same grade level that has a different teacher. And so that's why I feel like when you get these type of complaints from parents, that's when you're saying, well, why aren't they using this? And like my 9th grader my 10th grader now, 9th grade last year, his biology teacher, amazing biology teacher. However, she didn't use the textbook at all. But, he still learned, and he probably learned what he needed to do. But that's not the case with everybody. But it was, like somebody who was going to go on vacation and was going to miss the Zooms. Right. Like, how do you refer back to the book?
Oh, that's so important.
Yep. So there's things like that. There's just those missing variables. But, and I think too, people like go, oh, she just thinks all teachers. No, I don't. I love teachers. Like, I wouldn't want to, that wouldn't be like, I think I would be like a good high school debate teacher, government or history teacher, something like that. But obviously I chose a different route. So, but, so I appreciate all the teachers and I want to support them. And I think, like a lot of people have come to me and like, they've talked to me about professional development. They do not like it in the summertime because it takes away from their family. They don't like it after school. It takes away from their family. Like they're like us. They have kids who are in sports. They have families who need to go home. So to make it during the daytime. So I have pushed and I asked in a board meeting, to do it during the day. And I have teachers who contact me a lot. I have coffee with teachers. I have dinner. So anybody who's interested and has something to say, I'm all for it. Because that's who we're here representing them too. We're not just here representing the parents and the students. I mean, the board is overseeing, the board oversees the union contract. So if there's stuff missing that they want in there,
Right. So I've emailed, when I email the school board, I email everybody.
Right.
You and Sean are the only ones who respond.
Oh, really?
Yeah, only. Oh, I'm sorry. El Sasser responded the other day.
Oh, good.
Thank you for your email. That was a real long one.
Would you like him?
It was my longest email.
Would you like him to say that he loves your podcast? Or?
No, just that he read my email.
Okay.
Just to say, oh, I've read your email.
Yeah. I do know that he does read all the emails.
Oh, mine was pretty. My last one was pretty long.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
So you just felt like the thank you for the email just was. I needed more from you.
I needed a little something else. But it was one of the first response. He may have responded to one of my other ones, but But yeah, and so anyway, yeah, that would have been the communication you're talking about.
Right.
It would have been great
Right.
to hear from one of them to say, you know what, why do you feel this way, Andy?
Right.
Like Buck or Freeman could have any time.
Right.
Never have.
Well, I think
Never have.
too, and I think one of the things that I was talking about in one of these other interviews was they're both union endorsed candidates, you know, and they have been this entire time. So someone said, well, why do you think they voted that way? And I said, well, they can't vote. How can they vote any other way?
Right.
Like you can't. Like the three of us were not union endorsed. We
Don't
want to. No, I didn't even interview with them because I didn't want that. But we were on our own. It was grassroots, and we said we're for parents' choice. And I mean, and I know someone told me who had thought about running a couple years prior, and a union rep said to them, we'll endorse you, but you have to vote this way. If charter schools come, you have to vote our way. So, I mean, that is done. Like that was like my jaw dropped when I heard that. I said, are you kidding me? Yeah, it's like a true story. So how can you vote any other way if you're union endorsed and you've made that contract?
They're really they're seriously the problem that we have to get rid of.
Well, I think too, if you just look at the California Teacher Association website, I mean, everything that's on there is CRT is just, and I'm shocked too. And some teachers, have gotten on there and they've even looked and they're shocked. But I mean, you always think of the teachers union as, oh, they're here to, help their teachers be better at their job. It's not. It's complete politics now, completely political.
And I think that's also why many of the online programs that are used are also filled with it.
Yes.
And they just voted them through.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember being at that one of my first meetings, and they said we have these 50 items that included all the online programs that they were spending tens of thousands of dollars on, and said let's just approve 1 through 50.
Right.
Yeah. Hetty and I were there together, and we looked at each other going, wait a minute, you're not going to even look at any of those things? And then that was one of the first ones you were at when you got voted in. No, shut the front door. We are going to stop, and we're going to look at 19 and 20.
I remember I did pull out one time. I was like, oh my gosh.
You were there until the next day. I want to get to this question in that Shars, and she says, so the ethnic studies multicultural class that is required for high school graduation starting in 2030, do we know if that contains CRT?
So I was just delivered to my door, the multicultural class. And the reason that our district actually did our own curriculum was to keep the critical race theory out of it. And so you can still, you go to, you have to, go to the state for your qualification for everything. And you can still have a critical, you could still have a study like this or have a class like this that doesn't contain CRT. And so that's our hope. But this is just an elective class. You don't have to take this right now. You don't have to start taking it. I think it's class of 2030 has to have it for graduation. And so I think it's like actually starts 2025 or 2026, somewhere in there. But yeah, so it's a year-long class. I think it's geared for 11th and 12th graders, if I remember right. And it's just an optional class. It's just if they choose to take it, they take it.
Okay. Tara, we know Tara. Our latest professional development is done on purpose outside of the school day because there are not enough subs to support teachers PD during our workday. What's PD?
Personal days.
Oh, look at you.
Or no, professional development. Sorry.
Professional development.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or police department. Or no, professional development. No, and that is a problem. We do have a shortage of subs. So it's hard to, accommodate because they never sent us on our day off. Remember, when they sent us for all these things, we always went. If it was our day off, we got overtime for it.
Yeah.
Or they. So yeah. So I think that's definitely something that we, that should be looked into because they spend there's long hours and they're grading papers at home. And if it's like me, when I was there, I was done. And how they always, who wants to hold over for 4 to 6 hours? Yeah. Oh my gosh, no, I just want to go home.
On your Friday.
So I know, on your Friday. And then, sometimes dispatch, hey, can you dispatch? Somebody called in sick. It was like, I just want to go home.
What?
I could dispatch. Did you know that I'm post-certified?
No.
Oh, yes.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Smarter than you look.
So, well, thank you. No, but I totally get where they're coming from because, I want to go home too. Most people want to go home after a long day. So,
especially dealing with kids.
Oh,
I got 6. I can say that.
Yeah.
Tara says here. This is important. Curriculum is on display now at Casa Loma, 30-day public display.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
can't speak.
It's the one by City Hall. So you can go in there and you could look at the multicultural study class and
I think I'll do that.
view it. Yes.
I can't do this, what I'm doing, and not go take a look at it.
Right.
And
of course.
that's why I also said to the kids when Disney is doing their whole shenanigans
Mhm.
with Florida, canceled Disney Plus and every other thing that I could that was Disney.
Mhm.
And they go, well, what do you mean?
Right.
So listen, I can't do this
Mhm.
and not do that.
Right.
If Disney is going to take away or attempt to take away Florida's law, which is
Mhm.
parents' rights, has
Right.
nothing to do with
Yeah.
don't say gay, obviously.
Did you read the bill?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No,
yeah,
this says
it doesn't
nothing.
say that.
It's simply saying we don't want you teaching sex education to kindergarten
Right.
up to third grade.
Right.
And that's it. That's all it is.
Right.
And here's Disney saying, no, we want you to teach.
Right.
And we think that this is a bad idea. They obviously did not look at it, or they did, and they're crazy.
Right. Yeah, because it did not say that.
Yes. So my thing to them, sorry, jumping on this whole bandwagon here, is that I can't be the president of the California Parent Alliance. I can't be going to the school board meetings and then say, but we're going to keep Disney going on in here in spite of what they're trying to do in Florida. Because what the deal is that it's a California-based company. Right. Do you not think that if they do that in Florida, that they're not going to very easily do that here?
Mhm.
Because we have enough liberals here to cause us enough grief. I'm so sad for New York.
Yeah, I'm really sad for the 2 to 4 year olds.
Yes.
Yeah, that
they got billboards up in Florida saying, "Come to New York if you want to teach kids sex education."
Yeah.
So crazy. This is craziness.
Well, the 2 to 4 year olds are still in mass. That's the only group.
Yeah.
They won't. They won't release. I don't understand that one. 2 to 4 year olds. That's a hard age to wear a mask.
Steph brings up though, but what we were talking about, can we do anything about the sexualization our state has imposed in our schools, at least in our district?
So we did, before we were on the board, they did do our own curriculum with that as well. And so that is some of the things, like the science curriculum. People were very worried because, you get to the curriculum and you read the foreword or whatever it is that the publisher says. And it was a little
nonsense.
Yeah. It was a little, I think it said something about white privilege and, there was a lot in there. And so, but when you actually look at the science curriculum is fabulous. The 6th to 8th grade one, the teachers reported great things back. People were sitting in on the labs. It was great curriculum. Awesome. And so, I had no problem. I'll have no problem passing that one because it's not, you can't take away the kids' great curriculum because, the publisher said something, that he did. I mean, they say, oh, well, should we be supporting that? But in this day and age, you have so much, so many people putting that stuff in. I mean, so I'm confident in the science curriculum that there is no CRT in there. But that is how we get around this. Like even for history, we might need to make our own curriculum. And I know oh my gosh, make our own curriculum. But, talking, because I do talk about how feasible is this. I have talked to teachers and they said it is actually a feasible option. And could
1776.
Oh yeah. The 1776 is really good.
Yeah.
But they told me that it is a absolutely feasible option and will save us a ton of money, which could be good.
So Hetty and I went to El Dorado and we contacted the vice principal over there. She invited us over to look at the sex education curriculum and went through it entirely. Took a couple pictures of it and that kind of found nothing that seemed out of place.
Right.
Our take on it though was that the curriculum is good. Are the teachers going to follow the curriculum? Right. And we need some safeguards or something. Right. I'll talk about cameras in the classroom in just a second. But that is the thing. I mean, that we worry about. That not only U.S. history but math, and are they going to insert again? Right. And that's where they think. I think they're getting the idea that we're going to censor. It's not censorship. It's saying stick to the curriculum. Right. It's not putting in your own opinion. Right. And your own beliefs. Right. I didn't know what the marriage status was of my teachers. No, never. I didn't know that if they were Democrats or Republican. Right. Because they just taught. Right. In high school, I knew who my AP history teacher, I knew what he was because he would tell, I think his wife was a veterinarian. And I knew because he had a picture of his 2 little boys on the desk. That's all I knew. I didn't really know too much. Like if they were my coach in a sport, you know a little bit more.
but I didn't know much about any of them, to tell you the truth.
It'd be like I'm coming in and saying, you know, I'm married, but I'm on my way to meet my girlfriend on the way home at the strip
Right.
club.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, why do
Right.
I don't need to hear that.
Yeah.
I just want you to teach me
Right.
how to mix two chemicals together to
Right.
make something good out of it and not blow up the school.
Yeah. I remember when I was younger, and it was I think I was in 6th grade, because one of my favorite teachers, I loved her. I had no idea she had a dog. And like, so in the yearbook, they like would put people's dogs on there. You had to guess, but you had no idea whose dog was who, because you didn't know that your teacher even had a dog. It was crazy. And she had the cutest little dog.
Right.
And so, I mean, it was just like, that just wasn't spoken about.
Yep. Our friend Courtney wants to know, can parents sit in on the days they teach sex ed?
I would call the school and ask. I know that you're able to sit in on your students' class, on your students' classes. So I would absolutely.
Felt a little bit of a put. I remember early on, I've told this story several times, so it's not new, but my children were being homeschooled and it wasn't going well. So after a little bit of a struggle, I got them into Golden, and they started at different periods. I think the one was started at 6th grade, and then all the way down to pre-K. And it was during that period of time that I asked, like, I didn't know, because I went in and I said, can I sit in on a class? And I got, I think, a no.
Really?
Yeah. And it was before COVID.
Really?
It was like, well, we really don't have parents do that. It was not a hard no. It was one of those things like, we don't really have that.
Huh.
And I don't know if at the time they didn't want me to interfere with their education. They can't read. My kids couldn't read, and they were like in 5th and 6th grade.
Oh no.
And I had to get them in there, and I held 3 of them back, and one was in pre-K, so I didn't have to. But I just wanted to make sure that they weren't.
Right.
And so I can't answer that question either, because I think at the time that they didn't want me doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I was a room mom, so I was in there a lot, and I was in the library. Yep. But somebody said that you can, and then my brother-in-law, he said that parents can sit in too. I mean, I think we were talking about this, because he's another teacher who I can consult.
Yes.
And so we were talking about this issue, and he was asking about that too. And I think he said that he might have had some parents sitting in, but I mean, he's high school though too, so who knows if they're just making sure their kid went to class that day. You know how they would follow. Yeah. You have that parent, the kid's ditching, hey, I'm going to sit in all your classes with them. I mean, that actually happened once.
Oh, really?
Not to me.
Oh.
My dad taught at my school. He always knew if I was there or not.
Kathy says the material is in the online health class was awful. Has it changed in the last 2 years?
The one that they're taking in summer school, I bet she's alluding to. I'd have to look. I know what our curriculum is. I would hope that they be teaching them, but we
Kathy, if you can say what was awful about it, what was the subject, or what was the thing that?
Well, I know my 9th grader is taking his online health class this summer, so should probably.
Jen says Courtney Reed Jacques, from my understanding, no.
Well, you know what? That's going to be something that I'm going to have to ask, and we will come back and see what the actual answer is.
We can say,
because we've heard yeses, nos.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe now, because don't you have to show a test or vaccine status to get in right now? So
Tara says, stop the mandates rally this Sunday in LA at Grand Park. That'll be something else. Hopefully it'll be huge there. We're going to be busy on Sunday.
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are. That's going to be a busy day. I don't know if I'm making it down there for that, but man, no, it is. I'm very excited for Sunday night. Very, very excited. It's going to be a great time. We should probably
tell you guys. We got kindly invited to go to, well, I'm not sure about you, but I got kindly invited. Yeah. Did you get invited, or are you just going?
It was meanly invited, I guess. No, no, it was kindly. I was so happy.
Influence Church?
Yes. Because I saw sitting in church, and I heard about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to go. But just with the way that the fires, the way it's been at Dave's work, it's just been crazy. So to try to buy tickets for anything, it's nuts. So when we got that, and then he says, yes, I'm not going to be recalled. I can go. I mean, cross your fingers. That was exciting. So we're going to a gala, and now apparently there's a lot of us going to this gala.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
I can't wait to wear my white suit with a pink shirt and no socks and loafers.
Yeah, you might be sitting at a different table. Hetty might be sitting.
When you hear the Miami Vice music.
Oh my gosh,
I'm going to have it on like a little speaker.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you do you. I'll support you.
I'll be the old Crockett.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want to get, you guys have so many comments that are fantastic. And we're already at, can you believe we're already at 50 minutes? I'm
Oh,
so shocked. We've
wow.
been blabbering here about
Yeah,
other
we
stuff
have.
probably. But I just want to get on one more thing. And
Mhm.
that is the other statement that people make is that we're not teaching real history. That, again, I brought this up in my talk. And then I think Shar just brought it home.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is, my take was that how how could they possibly think, as many times as we can tell them, you have to teach slavery,
Right.
You have to teach that we slaughtered the indigenous. Wow, I said it that night. That was pretty good.
Did.
Indigenous people that lived on this land. We eventually would slaughter any of them, and all the other bad things. You can't teach U.S. history without teaching about the atrocities.
Right.
Then Shar came up and brought a textbook that's being used in our school district, and she went through her entire time making a statement about all the atrocities. Went into great detail about what's in our textbook. But yet, even after that, people still got up and said, "You are not going to teach about slavery."
I just don't. I don't understand. I don't understand, because we've time and time again, nothing is being removed from the curriculum. The AP curriculum, like, we're not removing anything from that. And if we needed to, then we've been lied to about the curriculum not containing CRT. So that's one aspect. But then I also looked into, when this whole thing came up, I looked into that, and to get AP, to get your AP status and stuff, if you send it to them and they don't like what you've sent and they think you need something else, they don't just deny you, they send it back. And then you fix it and then you send it. But I mean, why would all of a sudden now, if there's no CRT in our curriculum, why all of a sudden now would they deny it? Like, and we couldn't get an answer for this.
No, you never can.
But I thought Marilyn when she read the bottom of that letter, the Cal State University Fullerton letter, when she read that, I thought that was just amazing. And and then I was having some people, like some teachers who don't teach in our district. They said that they've stopped using them because kindergarten, they were coming in teaching CRT to kindergartners. So, and this happened to be a friend of mine. And so they were watching the board meeting. She says, it's true. Like, it's true. They are ready to come in and teach CRT. And I've heard that from a few people. And so I just thought that, man, it really hit home that, hey, they're gung-ho, they're ready. They're ready to teach it to all age groups.
But it's just the same people, right? It's the same people. When you get a box of masks, and on the box of masks, it says, "This will not protect you from a virus."
Yes.
And then they take it out of the box and they go, put it on, and then they yell at you for not wearing a mask. And you're going, the box said it's not going to protect. I don't understand. Johns Hopkins comes out with a complete study that says that every one of the measures that they took during COVID did not work. The 6 feet, the plexiglass, the mask, everything. And yet they go, they ignore it. But it's the same people. And they just, where the leadership and the elite that we know, and again, all the lefties are, this is all conspiracy and all that kind of stuff. So you understand what their position is, because they just want to maintain their, their position and their control. But then I just don't understand the people that are struggling that vote for these things. The people that you clearly see that they get in the cars that can barely run, that are obviously can't afford what the gas prices are, can't afford not having a job and just living off the little bit that's being given to you. That continue to vote for the same people that are doing that to them. I don't. It's the lack of education, and that's my second point. That's in the letter, the second part of my letter that I'm going to send out. Is that, do you not understand that what you're doing? Do you see what your lack of education is producing? People that are not willing to learn, people that are not willing to critically think or can't critically think because they've never been taught how to critically think. And we're lowering the grading standards and the graduation standards so that we can have more of these people go where? What are they going to do? They're not educated to get a job. They all got to work at these, non-thinking jobs. And they're importing people to build our bridges. They're importing people to build our buildings, and to do our accounting.
And that's the thing too. And people will say it's a conspiracy theory, but it's actually not, because it is the dumbing down of America. Like, and I saw something the other day where third graders in China are just like, they're just blowing it away versus our third graders. And so that's why I think, And was it Todd Spitzer? I think I was at a meeting somewhere, and he was actually saying that is kind of the plan, to dumb down America, because while we're all yelling and screaming about critical race theory, Russia and China are killing it in their education. And so, but we're just, at each other's throats about where our history came from, or, how to look at history, or who's racist or who's responsible. Like, nobody else is doing that. It's an American thing. Nobody else is having this fight. This is something that's coming, and it's like, we're it's to pit everybody against each other, and it's to make everybody upset.
Right.
And I thought when he said that, I thought that was and if it wasn't Todd, I'm sorry, Todd, but it was somewhere. I was somewhere and I was listening to, it's like a bunch of speakers, and it was just very interesting to hear that, to hear that is actually happening. It's not a conspiracy theory. And it is to try to have them take over. These groups have been infiltrating, our America, and have been causing this discourse between everybody. And so as long as we're not united, we're better, because we're weak or divided.
Karen says, it's like an illness. They can't see the truth, even when it's right in front of them. So true. It is sad. It's unfortunate. And I see very smart people like Leah. I could tell she's a smart person.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you just go, I don't understand why you're on this side. Because I see people that I have a friend of mine who's a professor at Alabama, the big one. What's I can't
University of Alabama?
Maybe it's University of Alabama. Is there another one?
I don't know.
But he's a professor, and he is such a lefty. Mm-hmm. And you go, and he's like saying just such nonsense. Mm-hmm. And I go, you're a professor. How is this possible? I know I've taught alongside of him at events. Mm-hmm. He and I've taught all over the country.
Right.
And you just go, whoa.
Yeah.
This is so strange that seemingly smart people have taken this position.
Well, I think too, what was interesting with all this critical race theory, I've kind of like subscribed to pros and cons. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of like seeing both sides and seeing if there's anything that could sway me.
Yep.
And somebody went into, I think it was a college in Virginia, and they were invited in as a guest speaker to do the pros and cons, to kind of debate the class. And they said there is hope, because when they left, the professor who was teaching pro critical race theory, he said, I don't know where I stand any longer, because should we be, basing people off of the merits or the color of their skin and where they believe they fall in this system?
Right.
And so he goes, so, hey, we can change this, we just have to present facts. So I thought that was an interesting story.
Cool. You can answer this question. Leah says, I'm not always on that side. To be honest, this issue was only on my radar because of the AP issue.
And I don't know where that AP issue came from. I really don't. Because
the burning book position.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that when the AP board was questioned, because of course, when this came up, the district did their due diligence and called over there, and there was no answer. There was no answer to this question. Yep. And so our AP curriculum, is not going to change. Like, they're not out there. If you want to talk about burning books, like, they're not burning our books because they're full of CRT, the curriculum's full of CRT, and, we have to change everything. I mean, nothing is changing. And I don't even think our AP curriculum changes from year to year. It's kind of like, we do. Some of our curriculum is 10 years old. Yeah. So, we might be pushing the same AP curriculum, for a few years in a row. So yeah. I don't know why anybody would say that we were going to lose our AP status.
Right.
Unless it was just something to try to maybe make people fearful and stop. So, but we've talked about it. I talked about it with the superintendent. We would never do anything to like have these kids lose their AP status. It would just be ridiculous.
Let's just go ahead and read this. It's funny because Leandra and I have a lot in common. My only issue with her, this side, are the things that were said or joked about regarding race. I truly hate all of the division.
Okay, so the only thing that I can think of is, remember when we were I was at home, and everybody was on there saying how racist, like we were getting all the hateful comments, like in this comment section. So that was like insane. Yes, it was insane. So remember, I had my dogs outside. Yeah. I have 3 dogs, a yellow lab, a chocolate lab, and a black lab. Yeah. So the black lab was looking at me through the window, and he gets so upset with me if he cannot come in. Right. And so all of these comments were going off. And then you said, do you want me to come over train your dog? And so instead of like saying, like if I said Cole, that's the dog's name, Coal, Cole's barking, you know, at me. Or so I said, the black lab is barking and saying to these statements, you know, that's my mom. So I said, my black dog is barking, saying my mom's not racist. It wasn't meant. It was just identifying which dog it was, because there's 3, they're different colors. Right. So I think that was taken out of context.
That's true. I've been to her house.
Yeah, I do. And the chocolate lab is actually quite crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you know, we live and learn that, you know, maybe that didn't fall.
Yeah, it didn't fall. It just, you know, people who know me know my dogs. And so they know that because people don't remember my dog's names, you know, so I identify them. Oh, the black dog.
One of the hardest things for us to get out of the habit of, I guess, is one of the things, is we as police officers, nurses, and quite often doctors. Yes. And then probably even firemen have a really odd sense of humor.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, when if you don't know this, I'm Hispanic.
I'm Hispanic too.
Oh, so
did you know? But hold on, did you know
what?
That Peralta Park is my ancestors?
No.
Did you know that? Yes.
Look at you.
Yes, my grandma's maiden name is Peralta.
Right. You get the park at some point? Do you get it?
I should go ask.
Yeah, maybe this is my park.
Maybe I can use the park on my birthday.
It's got my name on it. But you know, my Canadian buddy, he and I played hockey together. Whenever we'd be on a call together, and he was his car stop or something like that, then the car was going to be towed. He'd say, "Hey, Mexican, go get a tow sheet." And I'd say, and I go, I'd laugh, and I'd go get it. I guess this is the way we talk to each other. Yeah. I forget what I frog, because he was a French Canadian. Right. You know, these are not good words, right? But in law enforcement, and it's not always good, but we're not saying it to the public. This is how we speak to each other. Right. And it is, and sometimes we even speak in codes, right? Even not on duty. And so these habits are hard to break. It's not an excuse. No. But it is just one of those things that every so often slips through the cracks. Right. Again, there's no excuse for it, and it's not good, but we get better as we go on.
I mean, my one of my partners, I trained her, and she, when I was her training officer, so our first phase, you were the parent FTO. So you started with them and then you ended with them. Yep. You know, so she called me mama the whole time. Yep. She was, you know, man, like whatever she called me. And then when she got off training, then I was known as Weta. And so, like, you know, which is white girl. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, like I never took that. No. I don't know.
I mean, we also grew, well, I did. I for sure grew up in a different era. You were just slightly.
Well, I'm going to say I was a lot behind you.
But again, I was called Beaner. I was called, you name it. But I just never thought about it. I just like, that's how I grew up. Yeah. Like, you probably don't barbecue. And I go, what do you mean? Well, the beans fall through the grill. I mean, that's, and then I go,
somebody said that to you?
Yeah. I go, that's funny. I never thought about that. That is really hysterical.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a harsh thing. It's a harder, like, and the jokes are crude, but I think sometimes too, you know, that's how you get through. Like when we would have a really rough night. I remember we had a rough night one time. We had like, you know, a stabbing. I think we had a homicide. We had all this stuff like rolled into one. And so, you know, you got together the next morning and you found, you know, there would be a place that serves like, you know, beer or mimosas for breakfast, and you would all meet, and you didn't talk about what happened. You were either just at the thing making fun of each other, you know, just because you didn't need to talk about it. You seemed to kind of like just decompress a little bit. But yeah, it's just, it's different sense of humor.
It's not like, you know, within a family, we know that you talk differently inside under the roof of your own home. Yeah. And then you talk differently when you're out. Yes. Unfortunately, I think some of my kids who would not cuss in this home, they probably cuss a lot when they're outside. Oh, really? I could say my oldest daughter, it slipped the other day. Oh. I go, and people go, she says that all the time. I go, what?
Oh my gosh. Go to church. Go to church. Get your butt in church.
What? She goes, yes. I go, I hold it in when I'm around you. Oh, really? And that's, you know.
Well, that's respectful. That's nice. That's very respectful.
So let's get back on topic here.
Okay.
But I just wanted to discuss it. I mean, it was important, I think, for Lee to bring that.
Yeah, I'm happy she did, because I feel like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of tension. I don't really know her.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't. I feel like I mean,
some of these comments and some of these lingering things that continue to be seen on posts about you is from just very simple things that either slipped
Right.
or were thought to be funny and then weren't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But I do have to say, and I want to get this out. I know we've already been on for an hour. Sorry, guys. But I feel like I'm a parent. But from the day you started till you were speaking on Tuesday night.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Your presence, your command presence, you spoke so much clearly. Not that you didn't speak clearly.
Oh, I
before.
wasn't speaking clearly before. Yeah.
No, there's just a time. I mean, it's like, again,
Right.
anything you get into in the beginning, you're kind of a little bit nervous from time to time, or you're trying to make a point and don't exactly know the correct words to say.
Right.
But man, Tuesday, when it needed to come all together for you, I thought that was a very shining time for you.
Thank you.
And there was not one thing that Freeman or Buck said that you did not come back with something that was so much more powerful. Okay. And I gotta say, even Marilyn Anderson, who
Marilyn did great.
I am very hard on her.
You're very hard on her.
I'm very hard on you.
You are very hard on Marilyn.
I know she's probably watching.
Sometimes it makes me uncomfortable. You're so hard on her.
Yeah. Well, I'm so disappointed.
I know.
We're hardest on the people that we love, and I loved her in the campaign.
Yes.
And I supported her, and there's just disappointment in that.
Right. And I will say this, like with this whole CRT ban, we can't, you can't talk to each other or you violate Brown Acts. You can only talk to like one person. So me and Sean would talk, and so we can't, neither of us can talk to anybody else. So Marilyn would come to these study sessions, and she'd pass out her notes and the things that she had said. And she just did so much work. Like we all did. Like, you're sitting here, you're reading stuff. Sean's reading stuff. Marilyn's reading stuff. But Marilyn really put so much effort into this. And I just feel like she really has been given a really hard time, and she knows too that I've been disappointed in her, and some of the things too, but it's okay. I can't be mad at her forever. Yeah. But this one with this critical race theory, she really did a lot of research. She did a lot of work. And so I was just really, really proud of her.
Me too.
I was. And it wasn't just because the vote went our way. It was just because, like anything that, the whole white slavery thing. Like when I said, what I said, when someone said that there was no white slaves, and I said, well, what about the indentured servants and the Irish? And, people said, oh my gosh, you don't know your history. And I was sitting there. And so I actually called 3 history teachers, and they said, no, we were watching. You're absolutely right. They were slaves. Because, the indentured servants, a lot of times they were lured over here with promises, and they were, put into slavery. A lot of the women, the second they got off the boat here, were sold into prostitution. And so my question to somebody was, there's, history is not like, it's not sunshine and butterflies. And for us to think that all these contracts that indentured servants entered into, that if they were all honored, look at now. And I think one of my questions to somebody was, it's the same thing that we're dealing with on the border. You have all of these coyotes and all of these, the Mexican mafia, or what are they called? It just slipped my mind. Oh, yeah. The traffickers. They are traffickers. Cartels. Yep. Yes, the cartels. They're taking money from these people and promising them just safe passage. They don't get safe passage. No. They're having to wear bracelets, and they're catching them on the other side. And then and they're selling them into sex slavery. Yep. So I asked the question, well, they entered into a contract. Maybe they said that they would work over here for a year. Did they know that they were going to be a sex slave for a year? So are they an indentured sex servant? Like, that's almost the same thing. And I was so happy when she brought up the human trafficking thing, because as a police officer, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. The kids, the women, the men, it was awful. It was awful. And had I been able to go on longer, I would have made it, my passion to work sex crimes and somehow try to
sex crime.
Go. Yeah, I know. I mean, so
I didn't last long.
It's terrible. It is terrible. It's awful. And so I was just super proud that she brought that up, because we overlook this. Because sometimes I think we're blaming everybody for all this history. We're not looking at it and say, how do we fix this? And how do we make it better for today? And how do we stop the slavery? Because we still have it. And it's probably more, I would almost say is it more prevalent today? Yeah. it's a huge issue. It's a huge problem.
Rebel and a Friends Church some time ago put together a group of people that were looking, because it had become a part of the news here that human trafficking, sex slaves were very prevalent here in Yorba Linda. And they knew that I was a sex crimes detective at Anaheim Police Department. And so I went, became a part of this group for a period of time. But it's brought such, I can't, it's so hard because I have trouble with anything that involves kids.
Yeah.
And it tears me up. I can't watch movies that where kids are hurt. My daughter knows it, and she goes, I saw a good movie the other day, but you can't see it, because she knows I just can't. I can't.
It's so hard.
And so it was hard for me to continue to be on that group.
Right.
But Marilyn bringing that up is extreme, because it's Caucasians. The people coming across the border are coming from 100 different countries. So if you just think that it's Mexicans and Guatemalans and El Salvadorians, it's not.
Right.
It is. We got Ukrainians coming across. We got Russian immigrant. We got all kinds of different nationalities are coming through.
And Ukrainian. I mean, in Ukraine, the sex trafficking is insane.
Yes,
it's insane.
So just on that the topic, we went down the whole rabbit hole there.
You need to not be so hard on Marilyn. I'm very proud.
I see
I'm very proud.
The sincerity in your eyes.
I am very proud of Marilyn. I'm very proud of Sean. And but you know what, too, with Marilyn,
I was hard on Sean too.
You were really hard on Sean too sometimes. I was waiting for you to dish it out, but I know where you live. So.
But he and I texted each other. As far as I never had to apologize. He never asked me to.
No.
But I think we mended fences as men do.
Right.
Just we go, all right, that's in the past.
Yeah.
Because the thing I was hard on him is because he didn't speak up.
Right.
And again, that was early on.
Right. It's early on, and there's growth. But I feel like I felt like I was, had it even.
I would have been hard on you too. I know because I like you. I would have said, listen, Leandra.
I know.
I think you could do better.
Yeah, but no, with Marilyn, there's been growth with Marilyn too, and her standing strong, and even too, like the other night, just the work she did on this and the thought she put into it. Had she gone the other way, it would have infuriated me because it was a campaign promise, and but. I was super proud, even through this whole process. And in fact, I think I was talking to somebody a week ago, and I said, just in the study sessions, just in all this stuff, the work Marilyn is doing on this, she's taking it so seriously.
Yep.
So it's just
so important.
It's so important.
I mean, you and Sean and Leandra, there's no room for the lies that were being brought up about the burning the books.
Right.
Gosh, I can't think of it. The slavery taken out of the crate. I mean, I could just go on with all the different things. Right. There was it was done.
Right.
They had nowhere to go.
Right.
The funniest thing, and I'm just going to not leave you with this, but I got a couple comments I want to definitely bring up because they pray. A lot of people are praising Marilyn. But the one thing I thought was, there were two things that were so beautiful. And one of them was that part of I have it pulled up here, the Cal State Fullerton letter from from Rose.
From Rose Vergie, I think.
Thank you. Who is the president, who said that he didn't want us, I say us, but Placentia School District,
it's us. It's us.
To ban CRT. But the part of it was read just for brevity.
Right.
Was it you or was it Marilyn?
It was Marilyn.
Marilyn read, maybe the second paragraph or the third paragraph. The funniest part is that Freeman came in and said, "Did you know that he also doesn't want us to ban CRT?" And we kind of looked around the room and we go, did she think that was a powerful moment?
Right. Well, I think she read the first on behalf of the faculty staff. And
we're not shocked.
Yeah. No.
Like, we know.
Right. I mean, we've had their students.
Because the part was that we send you students as teachers.
Right. That was her point. And it was almost a mic drop. If I'd had a mic, I might have dropped it.
I said, well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Karen.
I thought we were still talking about Marilyn.
That for Marilyn was a mic drop.
Yeah,
but
Marilyn
Karen,
was a mic drop.
Karen just made the mic drop a little bit higher, bounce a little bit higher because it was so good. When she brought that up, I go, yeah, well, of course. Well, of course. This is the very reason why we need it to be better.
And you know what, too? And I think, too, there seems like there's a lot of discord and stuff when we're actually up there. But, I think in closed session and, before we start hitting these hard topics when we don't agree with each other, we are I think I would say we're respectful to each other.
Yep.
And I don't think Karen is a bad person. I don't think Carrie's a bad person.
They're probably not bad. We just don't
agree. We just don't agree on stuff. And you know, we have to be adults about it. And that's just how it is. Sometimes we have to be adults.
Okay.
And some of us need to work on that.
Hey, look at me.
Well, who you want? I ain't looking at Hedia.
But she's incompetent. I mean, she's just incompetent. She's not fit. That's not her job. That's not the job she was made for. You were made for this job. Todd's made for this job. She's not made for this job.
Okay. Well,
that was fine to me.
Well, you know what? There's a chance.
She's not listening to me. I said, listen, get another job. I know it's not a job, but
right.
You know what I'm saying. Really quick, Todd Frazier says, Marilyn did put a lot of work in. Appreciated her on this. Jen says, agreed. Marilyn did a lot of work. Karen says, Marilyn was very thorough and well prepared this time. She provided some great, irrefutable information. Yes. Todd says, Karen, 30 years. Yes.
No, I mean, yeah, 30 years. 30 years is a long time. It is a long time. I think she's been on since 1985
since you were a kid?
or 6. I think it was 6. I'd like to say I wasn't born yet, but that would be a lie. I might have been 6.
I was a police officer for 1 year.
Well, see, you just gave it away. How much older you are.
I was a police officer to the 1984 Olympics.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I did work at the Anaheim Convention Center during wrestling.
Huh.
It was painted pink.
Why was it pink?
That was the colors of the 1984 Olympics. Were like those pinks and greens. What do they call those? Pastel colors?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. It's a little bit of information there for you.
Yeah.
Got my police dog right after that, 1989.
Police dogs are amazing. Yes. That's all you got to say. Those dogs are so smart.
Thank you.
I don't know about the handlers, but the dog is smart.
Tara.
Did you miss that?
No, I'm ignoring you. Tara says 1989 for, I think, Karen.
Okay. So yeah, so I was 10.
Steph says I would have been 7 when she took the role. I have 5 kids. She needs to retire. Todd's laughing probably at me and you saying that handlers are not smart.
Are we taking questions? Or
you guys have any questions before we get off?
Questions
I know somebody that's in this house is probably very hungry. So
oh yeah, I sent one of the child who drives. I said, feed these guys, and then there was a phone call from one of the kids, the youngest kid. So maybe he hadn't been fed yet. It wasn't working out.
If any questions pop up really quick, I'll definitely ask.
Somebody said yes.
Oh yes, to talking about how stupid handlers are.
Oh.
Good debrief. Thank you. Tara says yes. I think we went through.
Oh my gosh. So that's my mother.
Oh hi Holly.
Hi Mom.
Weissenberger. I know a Weissenberger.
Who?
Mark Weissenberger. He is in Idaho. Mormon.
No, that's not mine.
He's a friend of mine. Did a great job on Eyewitness News tonight. Way to stand your ground and look beautiful doing it.
Oh, well,
I didn't know I was on.
I haven't seen it yet. Well,
I thought your mom was talking about me.
Well, maybe she was.
No, we knew that you were going to be on Eyewitness News.
Yes, Eyewitness News is 6, and I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see.
All right,
we'll see how
that clip.
See how that went. Thanks, Mom.
Your daughter, you did a great job raising your daughter. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else that we missed? I just want to hit those main points that we kept hearing over and over again.
Yeah,
about censorship, about slavery not being taught.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you look at it, a lot of people said this was political.
Yeah, it's not political.
And it's not political. You know, I don't think kids can be political. And I think I touched on, I don't know if it was Eyewitness News or there was a magazine interview today. And, when I came on the board, I had, the critical race theory, the social justice issues, things like that. We said that we would keep it out, return to traditional curriculum. And so that was kind of a promises made, promises kept type of, issue for Tuesday. But also too, I had talked to a lot of coaches, a lot of teachers about the El Dorado Lights at the high school, now,
my gosh.
And now the theater people at Esperanza have been hitting me up about, there needs to be a big renovation. Yeah. And so I feel like if you're not going to work for the kids and do things for the kids, that's what we're here for. And so to say it's political, it's not, because there's nothing political about removing critical race theory from the classroom. There's nothing political about moving politics from the classroom. If you're old, when you're in debate and when you're in your government classes in high school, it's totally appropriate. But for the little kids and stuff, there's nothing wrong with just sticking to a traditional curriculum. And there's nothing political about removing noise from the classroom. We saw our scores the other night, and you can't sugarcoat that. There was some improvement, but we need Like, so in some aspects, sometimes when we're looking at these programs and people say, well, she's racist or she's homophobic if she doesn't approve these programs. Well, if you look at a program and 50% of it is curriculum and 50% is social justice, and then another program is 80% curriculum and 20% social justice, I'm going to choose the 80% one, and I can stand by that and say I'm not racist or homophobic. I want to give the kids the best curriculum. And that's, a job that I take seriously. So I guess that was just one thing that was kind of, people say this is all politics. This is this, this is MAGA people, MAGA this, MAGA that. It's like, oh my
it's a melting pot. Let's keep the melting pot. People were trying to divide the melting pot.
Yes.
No, you can't. Yes. It's impossible. This country's been a melting pot since our existence.
I know.
Did it start off really good with a bunch? No.
No.
But right now, if we just get off of this, trying to separate the melting pot into groups and having separate graduations, that's the next step. It's no.
I mean, too. And too, like, I don't know about you, but like my mom's side of the family was, Dutch.
Yep.
And my dad's side of the family is Hispanic. And so, that was not a easy, to have two different sides, and that it wasn't an easy thing. It's not an easy, because you have different cultures, you have different, I think all the values were the same, but there was different cultures, there was different things, and it's not easy even inside a family.
Right.
So to try to do it in a school and in communities, like, you don't need this divisive stuff to be taught when it's already hard enough just to function inside a family.
In this house, we have Persians, Mexicans, and Irish. And if we can make it work,
anybody can make it work.
You can make a school work.
Yes,
because we don't focus on that.
Right.
Every so often we have Persian food.
Right.
Every so often I make tacos.
Right.
But
like my aunt Connie, she like makes the best rice ever.
Yeah.
And beans and stuff. And so anytime that my Aunt Connie and Uncle Mike would have a party, they would like grill carne asada. That was something that like we didn't catch on to until they got married. So I was always very grateful that my Uncle Mike married my Aunt Connie, because they just brought in, she just brought in so many good dishes. Her mom cooked like you would not believe. It was pretty good.
That's
so
awesome. Thanks for making me hungrier.
Well,
Yeah, pretty good. I want to bring up this one comment. It's so important, I think, and I'm so happy about it. And that is Leah, the one.
Yes.
Yep. Says, thank you for the convo, guys. Andy, today I have egg on my face, but thank you for your sense of humor. Awesome.
I don't know her, but I kind of like her.
Can't wait to see her and give her a high five. Thank you, Leah. I'm glad you joined us and glad you watched, because I think that shows your character. That although,
and I think we should still make shirts, because I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
And I think we could give Leah a shirt.
Yeah, I got to come up with a logo. I'm gonna go on to Fiverr and have somebody make a logo. I have a contest.
Funny. Yes.
I have a contest, best logo, and then I'll put it up and say, what do you guys think? And then we'll. Yeah. Sorry, I needed to find that other word. I don't know why I keep forgetting the word. Ignorant. Yeah, the
ignorant douche lord.
Yeah, I can't wait. Leah said she'd wear it.
That is so
Leah
funny.
said she'd wear it.
I love it.
All right, Leah. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we got to meet.
Did CRT get swept in with Common Core and we just didn't know it? No, Common Core's from years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was what, a 2013, 2014 issue.
So 2013.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get off because we got to eat. All right, my friends, love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this movement that we had success on. Again, our work is not done. This is just the beginning. There's so much that needs to be done. We need to get those grades up. We don't want to be mediocre at Placentia Oblenda School District. We want to be a leader and help bring other school districts up. And I really do think we can do that.
I do too.
I mean, people probably haven't heard of Yorba Linda or Placentia or any of these. I often bring it up.
Right.
But we want them to know who we are because we brought kids' grades up. We increased our standards. And the first step of doing that was done on Tuesday, thanks to Leandra and Sean and Marilyn, who I'm not going to be so hard on.
Thank you.
All right, my friends, there's too many people for me to thank, but all of you guys being on here and commenting has been fantastic. Thank you. We love you. Bye.